Lauren, you actually had some thoughts on
Yes.
the weapon
Yes.
adjustments.
Yes.
Let's just say I played a little PvP and noticed a lot of pulse rifles.
Yep. That is obviously I think the biggest change to everything is pulse rifles. You can actually use them now in PvP and in PvE, obviously, but that's pretty much all these past few times that I've been playing PvP. It's just been pulse rifles, Red Death, Bad Juju, Oversoul. Like it's just pulse rifle city right now in PvP.
So, do you think that's going to be just like the first weekend and everybody's just trying them out, or did you notice a trend that it's more like satisfying and it's working?
I think it's going to stick around to a certain extent, but obviously I think everyone will just pick one weapon that they like. With the Suros, that was obviously I think one of the go-to assault rifles. I think the Red Death, people are leaning to it, so it really depends if they are going to touch assault rifles again, because I know a lot of people are complaining about the assault rifle nerf again, that they changed it. So.
ARs have been nerfed to the point that they're useless.
Which really
That's a
upsets
strong
me,
review.
because I obviously love assault rifles. So.
Yeah. Well, if you take any assault rifle, the best assault rifle in the game, up against, say, a fully maxed out Red Death, you will lose. You are guaranteed to lose.
Absolutely.
And that's a problem.
That is a problem. Okay, what do you guys, before the changes, what were your top 2 weapons? Let's go around the table real fast. Destin.
Well, I always use just Shadow Price, but I know it's not the best weapon. I just got Monte Carlo, so I would have used Monte Carlo or Suros. Yeah,
okay, so
always an auto rifle.
Oh, so not necessarily Shadow Price. And then Lauren,
secondary shotgun.
What about you, Lauren?
Either the Vision or the Suros. Those were like kind of my top 2.
Okay, I was Hawkmoon or Vex. And
there was a pistol phase for a while where everybody was using pistols.
Yes.
Well, Hawkmoon's just deadly in there as well. I know that you
absolutely
it
is.
You probably don't know that it's so awesome because you don't have it. And,
no, but I get killed with it, so I can feel the pain of how strong it is.
So I'm curious to get back in there. I just didn't have enough time to see. I mostly just tried Pulse in PvE and noticed I went to the exclusion zone to pick up some glimmer, and I was just tearing through the solar
with a
shields.
shotgun.
No, I was using Oversoul Edict because I just wanted to test the pulse.
Oh, okay.
And they were just like going down fast. Yeah. So I did look. I think it's good to a point, but yeah,
absolutely.
I think,
I'm glad that they're trying to get other guns still useful, so it's not just like assault rifles or hand cannons. Like they're trying to make all the weapons equal,
and it changes the game too. Like you're seeing, like you now have to think about using it or adjusting, and like that means that the matches that you were playing on Thursday are not this. Or sorry, this went out Tuesday. I was traveling on Monday. Have changed.
So you guys seem pretty positive. Let me ask this though: do you think PvP is now unbalanced or broken, and it needs to be adjusted again? Like I feel like everything's leaning toward pulse rifles. It's not an even playing field again, and they constantly talk about how they want it to be an even playing field where there's no one weapon answer. And right now, it's kind of Red Death.
Right.
I haven't got a chance to get in there yet. So Lauren, you're
for me, like I know there was a huge phase with hand cannons, and that was kind of bothering me. So I'm glad that they messed with the range on hand cannons. I think that was definitely needed. So I'm really happy that they kind of fixed the hand cannons, because those were really, really popular. That's like Thorn, Hawkmoon. That's what I was seeing the most in PvP. And now it's pulse rifles, and I feel like everyone's just kind of leaving assault rifles behind. So I really, really, really do not like that they changed assault rifles. I think they should have just left them alone.
But
agree.
To make sure we're clear on why that is, though, are you upset because it was like your favorite blanket sort of thing, or is it like you just don't like using the pulse, or are you just mad that everybody's
I'm
using
actually really enjoying like using a different weapon. I think that's the nice thing, is being able to use different weapons, so you're not just stuck with using the Suros, every single day. But to the point where it gets where you don't want to use assault rifles at all, and then I'm just sticking with either like the Red Death or whatever, then I think you're just getting into the same routine again of just using one weapon or one type of weapon.
And that's their whole design philosophy, to not have a one-weapon answer, but yet again, they're running into that problem where the answer is Red Death.
Right.
The answer is Gallahorn.
Potentially, I don't know. I feel like part of it's a phase because, when fusions have just for a long time just been so deadly. Mm-hmm. Now, it is kind of a one-shot thing, but man.
Well, they changed the cone of that also.
Yeah,
right.
And we can talk about that. But meaning, like, you had the option to just tear it up with a fusion. A lot of people chose not to do that. They stuck with shotguns, or they stuck with their hand cannon. So I feel like you do kind of get into, like, this is what I like the feel of. I think there will be some settling in. Like, honestly, I haven't played PvP since the adjustment. I just got back from a trip last night from LA and, waited
Mr.
for
Fancy.
Zuri and got my Gallahorn and everything. But yeah, I do feel like first thing I'm going to go in and use Pulse. I'm going to use it up and down and try out a couple of them that I've been waiting to try. But then I think you got to get used to it, and I want to compare it with like Vex and some other stuff. So I don't know.
All right, so we need to move on to the next segment, and I'm also what?
Are we still going to talk about buffs and nerfs and whatnot?
No, we're moving on to another leak.
If I could just finish real fast, because I know we're short on time, and he's very on schedule this one. Is just so I love that. I read through the detailed report and all the percentages of what guns people are using, and shotguns we didn't talk about, by the way. So I think
100% buff.
Yeah,
they tear everything apart.
In PvE, it's great.
2x.
Yes, in PvE.
So boom, everything's twice as powerful up close, which is actually pretty awesome.
Use it for
Nobody
farming.
was using them. Nobody's using it. So I do think it's smart. Like they just went all in. It's a big bet and say, let's just get people trying them out. I agree. They just couldn't match fusions. So why would you use a shotgun? It just never felt like Destiny. Also in PvEs, you just do not want to be close to a lot of these enemies. They're just brutal up close. So I'm curious to see how that pans out.
Yeah. I mean, I was a big person within PvP. I would use shotguns more than fusion rifles because to take people off flags, like just sneaking up on people with shotguns, that was really nice. I know that they, I think, messed with the range of shotguns for PvP. So it's definitely, since I'm so used to the range of, like, my Dead Orbit shotgun has the rangefinder perk. So when you aim down sights.
Oh, nice.
That one.
And now I'm just kind of getting used to not being so far away and using my shotgun. So it's a little bit of adjustment for in PvP. I know in PvE they're great to use now. Like, they're so much better for PvE.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. Hide and Seek, I think, is the one you're mentioning.
Yes,
Dead Orbit, which is really cool, and it has, depending on the role, some good perks. But then also Universal Remote, which you're selling, has that distance perk. So I'm curious. I'd say try it out. Like if you've got the coins, like even if you hate using it,
they are great for farming Glimmer.
Yeah. But what I really wanted to comment on very fast was what's bothering me about everything from the vault to the weapons is that you read through and they're like, here's what hand cannons are for. Here's what pulse rifles are for, this mid-range burst. Then auto rifles are really for like the chainsaw effect of keeping someone at bay. And awesome. So guess what you got to do to switch between those attributes as you go from enemy to enemy. You press start, you press into your menu, and then you switch your weapon. They're describing for me almost like what I would use my specials for. So I really do think there's a fundamental issue with the primary weaponry that, I don't know, man. I think they need a way to quick switch that stuff.
Like double tap up?
Yeah. Like
we've seen this a lot, actually, in emails and stuff people have sent in. Stuff like suggestions like that on how to improve it.
It's like, why not? I mean, this is like, it's just fundamental shooter stuff. And I feel like it's missing. I feel like all the work they're doing is actually, they're fighting against themselves with that design. So I think that's half the reason is really what I'm getting at. Well, I know he's using Pulse because it's a pain to switch. Why would I try it? I'm just not going to bother with it. And as you get into like enemies too with their, their shields, like, so I think it's a huge problem that they really need to address if they want to take advantage of this awesome arsenal that they have. Because I really do think the guns, I mean, Bungie's just awesome at that. Each gun is so special. And there's these roadblocks to use them.
Yeah. So. It sounds like this is a conversation topic we're going to have to come back to later. I know by no means wanted to stop because it's great. But